Hey, what's going on, everybody? Mayor Gabriel Reyes here with everybody's favorite Mayor Pro Tem,
Daniel Ramos.
And we're super excited to be back. Episode 2 of our podcast. And one of the biggest things that we want to say to everybody is thank you. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for dropping the names, the comments, the ideas. It was very well received. And what'd you think about it, D?
I loved it, Mr. Mayor. I mean, it was great. You know, sometimes you don't really know what to expect when you put things out there, especially when they're first time type of things.
Right.
And you know, I think it was received well. We got some great creative names from our residents out there on the podcast.
Absolutely.
What
were your? Give me 2 that you liked before we were kind of already narrowed it down to our 3. But what were some of the ones that stood out?
I like the Adelanto. I like that. I think that was really creative.
Yep.
You know, well, I don't want to give it away, but the what in the Adelanto?
What in Adelanto? That was a good one.
That was really good.
I like the how they kind of played on our slogan, right? Mm-hmm. Unlimited possibilities. Yep. Right. That was pretty creative. Kept it rooted in who it is that we are. There was another one. A-Town Buzz. Right? Those were good. But for everybody, just thank you. Thank you so much for your feedback. We did say that we were going to announce a winner, and we narrowed it down. It was hard to narrow it down, but the 3 that we have as our top 3 is What in the Adelanto, and then we had Adelanto Unscripted.
Adelanto Unscripted, that's another good one.
And then Adelante with Adelanto. Yes. Right? So which one are you leaning towards? But before we go, it's super drum roll, right? Which one are you leaning towards and why? And I'll tell you which one I'm leaning towards and why.
I like it's tough, man. I'm honest with you. Like I'm torn between the Adelanto Unscripted because I feel that really. That's what I want this to be.
Right.
What I think we should want this to be, right? Yep. Unscripted, we get on here, we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? And it's not, us practicing the week before on setting up questions. We get in here, what are the questions, what are the topics, boom, right? But then I also like the what in the Adelanto because that's just like, it sticks.
Yeah,
it's catchy.
It's catchy. It's catchy. And that's where I'm at too, right? The Adelanto Unscripted, because the reason why we're doing this is because we don't want to be scripted.
Right.
We want to bring in the guests, right, to really give us the nitty gritty and why these things are important and why we move the way that we move, right? Yeah. So everyone, thank you so much. And with the drum roll, right? The name that we're gonna go with, and shout out to you, Mr. Participant, is we're gonna go with Adelanto Unscripted, right? We're gonna go with Adelanto Unscripted. Just because we have to stay true to what we're doing, right? What in Adelanto is great. We can throw that in there, right, as kind of topics that we're going to talk about and everything else like that. And some of the other ones we can incorporate, right, like our A-team that we have going on. So everyone, thank you so much. Congratulations to the winner. We'll tag you and reach out to you. Thank you so much for your engagement. To everybody, right? To everybody, because this is what's going to make our podcast unique. Right? Is that we want that civic engagement, we want that community outreach, and we want people participating, right? We want them to be able to ask in an appropriate manner, right? Their questions, their concerns, their feedback on what's going on, right? Because that's how we're able to really make true local impact.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool to reach out to the individual who submitted that name and won, and maybe bring them on the podcast for a quick couple minutes.
I think that would be a great idea, right? So be ready. We're going to be reaching out to you to have you be a part of the podcast. Yeah. So the kind of transition now, right? We're going to keep this one more short, more direct, and what it is that we got going on, and stay on as much of a unscripted agenda as possible. But some of the major accomplishments on what we got going on. And then again, man, I shoot this back to you, MPT, because your engagement with SBCTA, right? Your support of being our delegate and ensuring that Measure I appropriations, proper oversight of those things has played a major role in regards to a lot of the things that we've been able to do now when it comes to capital improvements in the city, right? We both sit on the board, and I can truly say the engagement and the seat at the table, right? Yeah. That's one of the biggest things that we said we wanted to do is make sure that Adelanto had a seat at the table in all of these other areas. So one of our biggest accomplishments, and I'll let you kind of touch on this when it comes to the Measure I component of it, is Seneca. Like Seneca Road, man.
Difference,
you know, it was, I drove down it the other day, right? And I'm just like, this is what it's about, right? As small, but as big as it was a $2 million project, right? A little bit more than 2 miles, right? 2 linear miles of road repair. And they got it done fast.
100%.
You know, I think
Very
it was
fast.
less than 2 weeks.
Very fast.
Right? So to the vendor, to the company that did the work, thank you so much for being efficient, right? And making that road look brand new.
Look and feel, brand new. I mean, literally brand new. And really quick, I want to touch on something really quick, Mayor.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have, I like to call them Facebook roaches, out there that come out of the bushes. Look it up, guys. For those of you that are wondering, comments, why does it take so much money? $2 million. That's the rule of thumb, right? It's $1 million per mile. Right around, give or take a little bit. But if you're one of those that are out there talking about, you could get it for $200,000, please, like, I don't know what kind of roads you guys are expecting or wanting to get done. But if you have somebody that's willing to do it and do it well, like what we've got done there in Seneca for $200,000 or $300,000, please, like, send them our way, because maybe the entire country is missing something, right? But it's definitely, up towards that $1 million a mile. And to your point, yes, thank you to Measure I for helping out with some of those funds. Again, you're going to hear me say it probably every time we're on this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Elections are right around the corner. June, November, you're going to see Measure I on the ballot. I can't tell you how to vote, right? But I can tell you what we can tell you is that a lot of the funding for the new roads and projects that you see happening in the city, a lot of that funding comes from Measure I funding.
Yeah, absolutely. And then to also let you guys know, right, how it works is every other year, every year, we have something called the Capital Improvements Plan, right? Capital Improvement, our CIP plan. And pretty much what that is that's letting the council and the constituency know, right, what projects we have coming up, right? Where we're allocating these funds, right? It's not just a magic bank account that we just pull money from. There's a lot of oversight, there's a lot of appropriations, like I said, with SBCTA and other government entities that we have to get these approvals, right? We don't get to pick and choose. Nope. We get to pick and choose what projects we're doing, right? But when it comes to the actual process, that's the important part, right? So
really quick, I want to ask something to at least I feel, personally, like driving down Seneca Road just almost made me feel like, okay, now everything else on Seneca Road, we need to step it up.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's almost forcing, like, I'm just going to say it, right? The gates, the fences.
Yeah, how do we get that?
Right? Yep. How do we get those now looking nicer, right? And better, right? Because now you go down Seneca Road, you look to not only does the road look great, but now you look to the left, you look to the right, and everything looks better, right? So I feel like a lot, what's going to happen is you're going to probably see us moving in the direction of, we're like, hey, we're fixing our roads, but now that's going to make us want to fix everything else.
Absolutely. Beautification.
Right? Beautification.
Yeah, 100%. So just a couple of the projects that we have in the pipeline for this year, ladies and gentlemen, is we have Air Expressway that we have on the map, right, from 395 all the way west to Raccoon.
It's going to be a big one.
That's going to be a big one. We also have Auburn from 395 west to Koala.
Correct.
Right? But one of the projects that we're talking about, and maybe we can kind of plant a seed here to see what our constituency thinks is, man, this was something pre our time, but the infamous and famous signal light on Bellflower and Mojave. Right? We're not going to go down we'll say that for another podcast. But something that we were talking about and brainstorming, right, is maybe doing like what is it called?
A roundabout.
A roundabout.
Yeah.
Right? In that intersection. Yep. As a way to be able to relieve traffic. Yeah. Because if we were to do a roundabout there on Mojave and Bellflower, because think about it, it's not a crazy active intersection 24/7.
Sure.
It's school times, right? We have on the north side of Bellflower, we have Braddock, right? And that's a 1-lane north and south.
Correct.
Right? And then when we go west on Mojave, we have Adelanto High School, right? And then all of those homes, right? So when we think about it, you know, morning time, afternoon time, getting off of work time, right? That intersection is pretty congested.
Yeah, no, it is.
You know, so what do you think?
I like the so initially I was a little bit like, I don't know. But then the more research I did and the more people I spoke to that have roundabouts in their cities, it makes sense for what we're trying to do, right? Because when you look at a signal, the signal, I mean, you can still run the light.
Yeah.
Right? So the signal's not, I mean, you're supposed to slow down at the yellow light and then stop at the red light, but I can still run a red light and hit a kid or hit a pedestrian walker.
Right.
Right? The roundabout, if we're wanting to slow traffic down and make people be more aware of pedestrians crossing the streets around schools, right? The roundabout makes more sense.
Absolutely.
You're not running the roundabout.
Right, you're not.
I mean, technically you can, but good luck. You know, like it's a wrap.
You're gonna feel it,
right? You're gonna feel it. So if we're looking to be, have a safer intersection there, if we're really wanting people to force them to slow down, the roundabout makes more sense. Is it gonna be confusing at the beginning? Yeah, but that's fine because that's actually what we want. Because when you're confused, you typically
start paying
down.
attention.
You start paying attention. You slow down.
And it goes in line too with what we were talking about, right? And trying to bring the awareness to high visibility crosswalks, right? Artistic crosswalks and those type of things, because that intersection would allow us to do that, right? And bring that awareness to all the other major intersections that we're incorporating with our parks, right? So this activity of bringing awareness to our crosswalks, bringing assistance to those type of areas, a roundabout is a major factor, right? So Adelanto, I guess that's something, to drop in the comments, right, to get you guys engaged. What's your feedback, right, on this, right, on a roundabout type of aspect? Because I think it'll be great, right? I think it would relieve the necessary, congestion that we have. It will. And it would really assist with people getting to and from.
Yeah, and I'd like to hear some comments on what do we have. Like, is it just a roundabout of concrete, or do we have like some cool beautification in the middle of it?
Oh, have to.
Maybe a statue of the mayor.
No, a statue of an iron, bro.
Statue of the iron.
We start putting these irons everywhere, right? We start putting our irons everywhere. Like, let everybody know how our city was founded.
That's
you know what I mean? Yeah. So, but we have to. We have to do it right. With it being our first one, we have to. We have to highlight what we've done and where we're going.
And savings wise, what is that? Well,
think about it. A signal light by itself, right? Just the signal light alone, you're talking north of $1 million.
Yep.
Right? So that's something to take in consideration in what we're doing and how we're doing it, right?
Cost savings, so massive
cost savings, and it still brings in the relief that we need to traffic flow. Yeah. Right? So that's pretty exciting. To move on. Our water park. Can't even call it a water park. Yeah. Our splash pad.
Yeah, be careful.
Right? Let's be careful, because then, we're going to be on the hook for bringing a water park. But not a bad idea.
Technically, it is a water park. It's a park and it's got water in it. Right. So it's a water park.
Let's talk a little bit about it. Right? Remember when we were talking about it and it was something we wanted to do, and shout out to Prop 68 for all of your assistance. We were awarded $3.8 million to do that park. And it's awesome that we're the first city in, I believe, San Bernardino County, right, that has an actual splash pad at a local park. Yes, they have one, like Mojave Narrows has it, but that's a county park, right? But I think citywide, we're the first one to have that splash pad. Have you had a chance to engage with some of the residents, and what's been your feedback with that?
They love it, man. I mean, they love it. It's everything that we wanted it to be, right? We wanted to provide a safe space for our residents to go cool off, right? Run around in some water, right? Like, think about it. You got to drive. How far do you got to drive to go to an actual water park, right? So to be able to bring your kids to the park there and have them just, run around and get wet, to them, it's everything.
Everything.
Right? They are at a water park for the kids. And there's been plenty of evenings when I went over there, and, I've ran into residents that are traveling all the way from the south side of town, coming all the way to the north side of town just to be there, right? Absolutely. That was another thing that we said, hey, in building these parks, let's do different things in them that's going to make our residents come from different areas to the opposite side of town that they probably either never been to, wouldn't want to come, or have no reason to come to.
Yeah,
right. And now they're here.
Yeah, and that's huge, right? Because when we were picking the park and we were picking the location, right? Unfortunately, some of the negative feedback that we got was, why are we doing such a nice park in the ghetto?
Yeah.
In the area where the gangbangers and the drug dealers are going to overtake our park, right? And
gangbangers get hot too, man.
Hey, come on, off. But it was crazy to hear that though, right? Like an area wasn't deemed like appropriate. Like, no, that's what we're supposed to do. Yeah. We're supposed to bring life, and an opportunity to every part of our city. So it was awesome the council was able to do the right decision. And of course, it's first one of many, right? It's not gonna be the last park. It's not gonna be the only park, right? But it was for sure something that showed and proved that it was the right thing. And with the space that we were to add on, we added on the community garden there to the park, right? Which is great. Yeah. The first one, and shout out to staff.
Yeah, man.
Right. Shout out to staff. I know we explored a couple of options to try to have other people come in and kind of carry the bill, but this is where I'm grateful for our city manager.
Yep.
Right. I'm grateful for our city manager, because at the end of the day, Jesse's always going to do what's best for the city. Mm-hmm. Was it something that we wanted to explore? Yes, it was. Did it happen exactly how we wanted it to? No, it didn't. But we still got the job done.
Yep.
Right. And that's the important part, right? Is being able to cross the finish line on the things that we know can be of benefit to our community.
That's his middle name, man. Get it done. Jesse, get it done Flores. Jesse, get it done Flores, our city manager.
Yeah. So ours, I believe we have a sign. We just did an amazing video. Yep. Right. Can you cover some of the details?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. So shout outs to Councilman Meza for being active and observing that, residents were wanting it on now, right? And the summer's here, the hot weather's here. So I believe him and our PIO team, they went out to the park there a couple days ago and launched a nice video turning on the water. And I believe the hours are from noon to 7, right? Water comes on at noon, shuts off at 7 o'clock, right before sunset and before the park closes. So anytime from noon to 7, residents, Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week, go on out there, cool off a little bit, take your kids, have a little picnic. But I'm excited for it. I'm going to be out there with my boy for sure.
For sure. I think one thing too that we can add on in the future, right? And of course we'll talk it over with Jesse, is finding some type of way to do some shade structures. Right. I think that's the only thing that's probably missing from that, is how can we incorporate the shade structures, right? To be able to do that. Yeah. So
and really quick before we wrap up on that topic, right? Take care of the park, guys. Yeah. Please take care of the park, right? It's on us. It is on us. It is on, we're it's not there for the adults. It's there for the kids. So let's take care of the park for our kids. The last thing I want to do is, I think I know the residents have done a great job so far. For sure. I'm not aware of anything that's gone on at that park, vandalism or, graffiti or tagging, anything like that. And I think that says a lot, right? For us putting it in the quote unquote hood, right? And nothing happening to that park yet, right? Says a lot.
It speaks volumes, right? Yes. And just the apartment complex managers around there, like everyone, it's a community park, right? And I love that we named it after some amazing community leaders, right? Evelyn and Charlie Glasper. Yep. You talk about community advocacy, community outreach, community leaders, great names, great leaders, great people to have that park named after, right? So absolutely, thank you to all of you who've played that part. Now, staying on the topic of water, right? Have you had a chance to check out our pool with the Adelanto Elementary School District?
I haven't, Mayor, and I think it's because, and hopefully you can help with this, right? Because I know you're knowledgeable on this specific topic. I'm a little confused on everything that's going on with this pool. Like, who's operating it? Who's managing it? How do I get into it? Can I just show up? Right? Who's overall responsible? Do I contact the city? Do I contact Brenda, Virginia, the water department? Do I contact the school district? You know, I'm not too clear on it, right? Yeah. And if I'm not clear on it, I can guarantee you that a lot of residents are probably feeling the same way. So maybe you can touch a little bit about the pool, who's responsible for it, how do we get there, how do we get in it, how do I go swimming?
Okay. So one of the things that we're going to do after this, right, is I'll reach out to our interim superintendent and really get the clarity of how we're going to move forward from today moving on, right? But last year was the first official year where it was reopened, right? What ended up happening was they upgraded it to a saltwater pool, right? And then that went bad because it was supposed to be a chlorine pool, right? So just a lot of issues on the rehabilitation of it. Right. Last year it officially opened up. It is under the Adelanto Elementary School District's peer review and oversight, right? Okay. Like they manage it, they run it, they do the scheduling and all of that. And last year being the first year, the issue that we had was that we didn't have any lifeguards, right? So they were needing to hire lifeguards and having people to be trained for the lifeguard services so they can utilize the pool. So
that's when you guys were trying to pimp me out?
Yes, that's what we're trying to get you to get in your Navy shorts and be a volunteer, right? Just sit up there and just have a grand old time. Because that's what was needed, right? We were needing the lifeguards for that. And what they did to get creative was they had like reservation blocks, unfortunately, right? We had to go that route for the reservation blocks to segue it in. And it worked, right? So this year, well, we'll find out exactly what's going on. Okay. I believe it does have plans to be opened through the summer, but community, again, this is why it's unscripted, right? We have to engage with you guys to be able to do this as a collaborative, right? But if you know any lifeguards, that was the issue last year on why we couldn't have it open, 5-6 days a week and everything else like that. We will be reaching out to the school district for a collaboration, right? Maybe this is going to be a way that we can collaborate and partner on being able to fulfill that. Right. But we need lifeguards, right? So if you know anyone, if you have family that is looking for some additional shifts or extra shifts or even just an opportunity, a job opportunity, right? Feel free to reach out to us and we'll pass the message along to the superintendent and their staff. But it's a beautiful pool.
And an actual qualified lifeguard, guys, right? Don't send your grandma over here to just look over the kids. I mean, maybe grandma is qualified.
Maybe she is qualified. You never know. No one's jumping quicker than a grandma going after their bebito, So that's something to for sure explore. So that'll be good. It'll be good, I think, if we could collaborate with them. Right. And because, again, we've been seeking that collaboration with the school district, right? Where we're the two governing entities over the city. And I think it's important that we're all on the same page.
Yeah, I'd love to have, we have and we're going to touch on it in a little bit here. We have our community events coming up, right? That season of community events. I would love, Fontana's doing it. They have a pool day, right? Where the residents come and they show a movie at the pool on the screen, right? So I think something like that, if we start incorporating that pool into a community event, I think that'd be great.
That'd be awesome because it's still cool enough to be able to do something like that. So we'll come back in for sure. Touch on that there. One of the big updates that I want to give, and it's something that we've talked about, but it's been in works for many years, is we launched our phase 1, right, of Pelt Beam, and we'll reshare the video. But this is something that, again, we talk about everything, right? We're pretty much on the same page of projects that we got to get done and things we got to do, but this is something that started COVID time, right? These conversations that really got, it brought it to our attention. And as much as we believe and as much of the great things that we see our city going and everything else like that, these are those moments where it kind of does hit us that we do have a part of our community that does need, some assistance and some help from time to time, right? And we experienced that with COVID. Right. One of the things that had to happen with the school district is they have to purchase a bunch of hotspots, right? Because if you recall, everyone was virtual. It shifted everything, right? And it was all virtual learning, and the school district found out that a lot of these kids didn't have access to the internet.
Right. Facts.
And to hear the last stretch, right? To hear bringing, addressing the digital divide and things of that sort, right? It sounds like digital divide. No, we're good, but then it hits you like there really is a digital divide.
There is.
There really is the lack of infrastructure, the lack of accessibility, and the way the society is going with everything living off of our phones, that was something that when it came across my ears and it came across, my desk, I was like, yeah, how can we try to bring a solution, right? So we even explored trying to do it on a ballot measure, right? For creativity to bring in the financial resources and things of that sort. But long story short, it's the citywide free Wi-Fi program, right? That we're talking about, that we're focusing on. And we were able to complete phase 1. And it started at City Hall. So there's the free Wi-Fi. So it's kind of like when you fly on the plane, you connect to their Wi-Fi, it takes you to the captive page, you check the terms and conditions, and then boom, you're connected to the internet, right? So that's very similar concept that we have, but it is, 5G. Right. It is amazing Wi-Fi. I've gone and I was streaming from my phone. I connected to it. The streaming was amazing. Didn't skip a beat. I watched a quick little Twitch to see how the connection was and the connectivity, and it was amazing, right? So we have phase 1, where it starts off at Richardson Park, the baseball field right there next to City Hall. Also our senior center, the soccer field, our dog park, all of City Hall, and then it goes east to Public Works, right? Public Works also has the connectivity there, and then it goes north up to Bartlett next to the sheriff's station, right? So that was just our phase 1 to bring in the infrastructure, right? To bring in the proof of concept that is this even doable? Right. And it was, right? So shout out to Pelpbeam for being an amazing partner, and no cost to the residents. This phase 1, no cost, okay. $0, right? Because again, they believe in addressing the digital divide. Right. They believe that they can make this happen and it be affordable and it be reasonable, right? So now that it's live and going, and I won't touch too much on this, we got to figure out a way on how we can now go citywide. Right. Because
that's what I wanted to ask you is what's the vision?
The vision is citywide, right? And I think we can break it down into locations, right? We won't go too specific into that because it is something that we got to discuss, on an agenda item sometime. So let's, I'll hold off on that. But understand community, understand Adelanto. This is something that ultimately we want it to be across the entire city of Adelanto, right? So again, Pelpbeam, thank you so much. It was a tremendous success. I've heard great feedback, right? And the goal is to make proper upgrades so that we can potentially have 300 to 400 people at these parks, all streaming live from their phones, right? That's amazing. Man. That's remarkable. So
great job.
A lot of great stuff, a lot of great announcements. And to kind of wrap this session up, our community events, right? And it's been fun, but I think the big ones that we have coming up are our movies in the parks have been amazing.
They have.
Right?
So every single one.
Let's touch a little bit on that.
Yeah, ever since so movies. I mean, and we also as well have it on the agenda coming up. But our community events have consisted of movies in the park. We've had a harvest festival where we handed out 300 plus pumpkins, right? And we realized really quick this year if we're going to move into that, like we need more pumpkins because they showed up, and MPT was sore the next day from handing out all those pumpkins. I know you were too. Then we had we incorporated the which I would like for us to try and get that grant again through SCAG, the Safe Streets. I can't remember the concept, right, where they came out and we incorporated the movies in the park with the demonstrations there. Obviously, we'll have our Christmas parade towards the end of the year, which I'm probably sure we're going to have it on Seneca again, right? The people spoke. The people didn't speak. The people showed up.
They showed up.
Right? They showed up. They showed up and they showed out. But we also want to hear from you guys, right? Residents, like what other community-based events would you guys like to see the city host in the summertime, right? Again, there's movies in the parks. There's Harvest Festival. You got 4th of July coming up. So give us some ideas other than, the movies in the park and the Harvest Festival and different things that you guys would like for us to host so that you can come out and participate.
You know what's one thing that I would love to be able to do, and I'm not sure how we would go about it.
A color run.
A color run, like a 5K run?
Or a bubble run.
A bubble run?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. Let me lose some more weight, and then we'll talk about that, right? But yes, we have a county fair, right, for the 2 weeks here in May, right? But I would really love to incorporate like Dia de los Muertos, right? And finding some type of way of how maybe like we use a fair type setup. Maybe not the big Ferris wheels, and maybe not all those, big time rides. Because you guys, you brought a great concept with Market 760, right? And it was something that we showed can happen, But being able
till it rained.
Right, till it rained. That's what hurt, right? Mother Nature. But it was done.
Right.
You showed with Market 760 that it's something that people would come and support.
Yeah.
Period.
Yep.
Right? And doing that for like 2 weeks. Right? Because we've done the carnival thing and, it's been a hit or miss, but they've come. But like, what if we were to do like a fall festival for 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Right? And end it with a Dia de los Muertos on November 1st. Right, whatever day of the week it is, right? We do it on the actual day, right? Because with the high desert, especially with Adelanto, we're 70% Latino, right? And I think overall in the region, if I'm not mistaken, I think we're 60%.
Yeah, I'd say at least 50, 55. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was a little bit more.
So doing a Dia de los Muertos, you know what I mean? And then September, October is Latino Heritage Month. Right. I think it's the last 2 weeks of September going into the first 2 weeks of October, right? So doing this immediately afterwards. Yeah. Just an idea.
No.
Right? Since you said community engage, right? Yeah. So kind of throw out those ideas. But if we can pull something off like that, that'll be fun. But we have to figure out how we can go about pulling it off. Right? But
we want to hear your input.
Community,
we want to hear your input. So drop your comments in the comment section. What do you guys want to see? Yeah. And we'll move from there.
So we have the Harvest Festival. We touched on that. Movies in the park. And this. So explain to them, how do we actually pick the movies, right? Because I think that's an important part of the process. So what do we do, right? Because again, we have great connection, but we gotta ramp it up.
We do, and I want to see some kind of better movies, right? I think I get the kid stuff. Obviously I'm not asking for like rated R movies, but I think a little more
like Jurassic Park,
something a little more less kiddie, right? More like in the middle. But you can go online. So Brenda and Virginia are great on getting a list of movies out, and you go online on Facebook, on Instagram, and comment which movies you guys want to see, and then we pick from there. What movies are said the most, or and we just pick one from there.
So we drop it like a Google form, right? Then we drop it. We put it on our city website, and then we also put on our city social media, correct? Right, and then we do the best we can to put it in our news groups, right. So maybe this year we'll talk to city manager and. Maybe we can do a QR code on the water bill for them to vote, right? But an idea that we can do if we were to do more of an adult one and just using Fast and Furious as low-hanging fruit. Yeah, right?
Just be careful when we say let's do an adult one, right? Because that's the last.
You started it, bro.
I know.
Right? So.
Yeah, see, I messed you all up, man. Look,
now you messing. Now how am I going to say this, right? Thank you for being unscripted. Okay, so in the movie selection, right, to appeal to an older crowd.
Right, there you go. There you go.
You know, we can incorporate maybe like a car show.
Yeah.
Right? If we were to do like a Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
You know, attach a car show to do that before. Because that's that concept though with the grant with SCAG. Right? Mm-hmm. That's really what it was. We had people come and do something prior.
Yep.
Right? And that really brought out, if we say a start time is 6 o'clock, people really don't come on time.
They don't.
Right? But this year when we said with the Harvest Festival, hey, we're going to be giving away pumpkins. People were there before it even started. I think we gave away half of the pumpkins. Within
like the first 20 minutes.
They were all gone.
Yeah, they were all gone.
Right? So being able to do something like that to overlap it and not just be I'm going to go watch a movie for 2 hours.
Right.
Right? Kind of what we were wanting to do with our Christmas parade. Yeah. We've always wanted to have our parade not just be the parade and everybody go home.
Yeah.
Right? How do we do an activity? How do we do something in the park, right? So just some ideas. But again, community, these are the things that we want to share with you guys, you know, because we have an amazing PIO team and Brenda and Virginia are amazing on staying on top of all of these things that, you know, you're for sure being heard and your feedback is important. So outside of that, I think we kind of touched on all of our topics. Is there anything that you want to just share in closing?
Yeah, no, in closing, man, you know, we're yesterday we celebrated Memorial Day.
Yep.
You know, approaching our 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So just a huge shout out and much love and respect to all the veterans who have served, who have stood to watch. You know, thank you guys for taking making the sacrifice, right? That a lot of people choose not to make or can't make.
Yep.
We love you guys for all the troops that are currently serving and standing to watch. You know, you're in our thoughts, you're in our prayers, and we hope that, you know, all of you get back home safe and sound.
100%. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then just in closing, the other two is just belated, you know, happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Right, here in the beginning of May. And then if we don't see you guys before Father's Day.
Belated happy birthday.
Belated happy birthday, yeah. How was that, right? It celebrated that in D.C.
I tell you what, I was at first, Mayor, I was a little down, right? Because I want to be with the family, right? I want to be, you know, with the fam, and I want to be here with my friends. But when the day came, like on that Monday, when we were out there, when the day finally wrapped up, and I had an opportunity to reflect, like I think I was exactly where I was supposed to be to celebrate that birthday.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And we got a lot of work done. You know, we were advocating out there. This is going to be a super different topic, but you know, we were advocating out there for not only our city in the high desert, but all of Southern California. So it was great, man. I had some amazing people around me, and you know, no partying, no nothing, just work, grinding, a good dinner, and went like on a 2:30 a.m. run.
Yeah, that was cool.
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty
cool. You know, 2:30 a.m. in our nation's capital, running, you know, around the monuments and whatnot was the first time I ever did something like that, and it was great. So I spent it exactly where I needed to be.
That's good, man. That's good. 29?
30.
30.
30.
Okay, you're 30.
Yeah, 30.
So you look good for 30.
Appreciate it.
Right? And then just in closing, if we don't do one before Father's Day, just happy Father's Day for all your amazing fathers. You know, keep on standing guard, keep on being amazing role models to not just your children, but if you're involved in coaching, mentorship, or any other way, continue to be great leaders and great influencers to the young men that need it. So with that being said, you guys, we're wrapping up the first official Adelanto Unscripted.
Unscripted.
Right? Episode 2. You guys have a great rest of your day.
Take care.